Robert Redford looks like the perfect man. Good-looking, charming, and super successful. He's a famous Hollywood actor that people all over the world love. But behind all that sparkle, his heart was pretty mixed up. He had secret feelings for some of Hollywood's coolest guys. His old friend Jane Fonda once said that Redford had problems with women, and sometimes seemed to really like men who made a big impact on his life. Now that he's 89 years old, Redford told everyone a secret that shocked people. A list of 9 men he could never forget. Men who made this famous guy's heart beat fast. Who made him want them, or even hate them so much he couldn't forgive them. Let's find out which one left the biggest mark on Redford's heart. Let's talk about each name. In 1967, Robert Redford was trying to get a really important part in a movie called The Graduate. This role could have made him super famous around the world. But everything went wrong when Mike Nichols was watching him try out for the part. Nichols said no to Redford and called him a loser. This made Redford feel really angry and embarrassed. It left a bad feeling in Redford's mind that he never forgot. From that moment on, Redford's hate for Nichols wasn't just a quick feeling. It became something he felt right away whenever he thought about him. Every time he remembered how Nichols looked down on him, it made the hurt feeling even stronger. Redford was proud and really believed in his acting skills, but this hurt his feelings badly. It started an angry feeling that lasted for years. This hate wasn't just about someone saying mean things about his acting. Redford said no to working with Nichols ever again. Even when Nichols became one of Hollywood's most famous directors, this wasn't just about his career. It was like a way of showing that Redford could never forget feeling embarrassed and wouldn't let the man who hurt him have any power over him. Until he died, the name Mike Nichols was like a bad stain that Redford wouldn't touch. Redford hated Mike Nichols. But during his whole life, he also really looked up to other men, including a black man whose friendship was blocked because of unfair treatment by society. He got interested, and then he fought for me to do it. Studio tried everything to keep me out of the film, at which time I went in and saw his desk in half and said, "This is not about friendship. This is about $8. Robert Redford and Paul Newman became Hollywood superstars who had a really complicated friendship off camera. Many people thought the good chemistry in movies like Butch Cassidy and The Sundance Kid or The Sting just came from the script. But the real story was way more complicated. From their first movie together, Newman wanted to switch parts. He really wanted to play Sundance, the cool, rebellious character that ended up going to Redford, who was a pretty unknown young actor back then. Newman took the Butch part, but you could tell he was jealous. Meanwhile, Redford became super famous from the movie, which made their friendship more tense. This was the start of a close friendship that also had some quiet competition. But instead of pulling them apart, this competition made them stick together even more. Behind the scenes, Newman and Redford were known for playing endless pranks on each other. One time, Redford gave Newman a fancy Porsche that wouldn't start. Newman got him back by crushing the car into a metal block, putting it in a garden, and sending it back. Strangely, neither of them ever talked about the prank again. It was almost like their friendship had a secret code that only they understood. Their families were close and lived near each other in Connecticut, which made people gossip. A person who worked on their movies said that Redford often talked about having burning dreams about Newman. These were scary dreams that made him wake up feeling panicked and wanting something. This was more than just looking up to him as an actor. It was like he couldn't stop thinking about him. There were even times when people caught Redford whispering to Newman behind the scenes. His voice was quiet but serious. "Tonight, just the two of us." These secret invitations became something Hollywood people loved to gossip about. Even though both stars never said anything, the mystery just made people talk more. Many people believed their friendship was more than just being friends. Even with all the public pressure, Redford's feelings never went past just being friends. Sometimes, being so close made things sour. People said Redford felt really disappointed and even angry when Newman didn't give back the same loving feelings. Newman's invisible distance made Redford feel rejected, even when their friendship seemed really close. During those weeks, Redford stayed away from Newman and hid his irritation behind polite smiles when they were filming. It was a subtle tension that only people on the inside could feel. In later years, Newman was invited by Redford to join a project called A Walk in the Woods. but Newman was too old and sick to handle the hard scenes. Their dream of working together again never happened. For Redford, this was one of his biggest career disappointments. When Paul Newman died in 2008, Redford couldn't hide how sad he was. "I lost a true friend. He was worth more than any love I have ever had. Life in this country is better because he was in it." It was a short statement, but it was full of friendship, respect, sadness, and a piece of Hollywood history ending. Looking back even further, Redford's special attraction to men started with a name he loved his whole life: Melvyn Douglas. When he was a young, dreamy guy, Redford was fascinated by a name he would never forget: Melvyn Douglas. The first time he watched Mr. Blandings Builds His Dream House, Douglas's calm look, smooth smile, and classy style made an unusual feeling grow in Redford's heart. It was a mix of looking up to him and being attracted to him that was unlike anything he had felt before. This was the start of a lifelong obsession with a person Redford adored and wanted endlessly. In Redford's imagination, Douglas wasn't just a talented actor but like a first love in his mind. Every move, every look on screen amazed Redford and taught him how to show emotion through his eyes, smiles, and refined loneliness. This influence shaped how Redford acted later, turning every politician role into a lonely, wandering person across Washington, like a shadow of Douglas. Each role after that carried Douglas's feeling, calm but mysterious, a smile that hid loneliness and hidden charm. In private moments, Redford longed for Douglas's image, reminding himself that being fascinated and curious were never bad things. They fueled his captivating, lively performances. Robert Redford and Sidney Pollack first met on the set of War Hunt, when Pollack had a small role, and Redford was a promising young actor. From that point, they stayed close friends. However, things got tense during the filming of Out of Africa. Redford grew close to Meryl Streep. Tender looks, warm smiles, private shared moments, all of this made Pollack feel betrayed. His jealousy was bubbling up. It was no longer about work competition, but an emotional storm that had been building up over time. Pollack's private love for Redford, which used to be an important part of his world, now felt threatened. On set, the atmosphere got tense. Every gesture, every glance between Redford and Streep became like an invisible weapon in Pollack's emotional struggle. He couldn't hide his frustration, and Redford, who knew what was happening but felt conflicted, felt torn between wanting to comfort him and feeling trapped. Redford later said he felt stuck between two close friends, and it was uncomfortable. Despite all this, these moments made their bond uniquely strong. Pollack and Redford learned to forgive each other. Redford invited Pollack out and they made up, though what they talked about privately is still unknown. At 89, Redford talked about Pollack as a crucial part of his life. "I've had many relationships, but the longest lasting was with Sidney Pollack." Redford's life was shaped not only by men who made his heart race, but also by those who caused lifelong irritation and anger, like the legendary Gene Hackman. What was the real reason behind their fight? Robert Redford once had very high hopes for Gene Hackman when they worked together on Downhill Racer. However, Hackman, with his intense and stubborn working style, often annoyed Redford. He wanted a subtle connection on set, but Hackman was like a sledgehammer in a violin shop, breaking the rhythm Redford had hoped for. This disappointment planted the seed of a deep, simmering annoyance that stayed with Redford for years. Every scene with Hackman became a challenge. Redford, who was calm and professional by nature, struggled to adjust to Hackman's forceful intensity. The difference made him feel trapped, gradually giving rise to a quiet anger. All attempts at getting along proved useless, and Redford realized Hackman would never meet the expectations he had set. This bad feeling extended beyond the set. In the years after, Redford kept complete distance from Hackman, avoiding any opportunities to work together or even talk. Any invitation or chance to work with Hackman was coldly turned down, a reminder that past disappointment and annoyance still lingered. When Gene Hackman passed away, Redford's attitude stayed clear. He did not go to the funeral or say nice things publicly. To Redford, Hackman was still the man who had annoyed him, a painful memory of disappointment and fighting that he didn't want to think about again. This action made Hollywood and the public fully understand the long-standing bad feeling Redford held toward Hackman. Until the end of his life, Gene Hackman remained a name that made Redford frown, a symbol of unresolved frustration. But the story didn't end there. Robert Redford also had unclear, mysterious relationships with several Hollywood male actors, the most obvious one being Dustin Hoffman. Redford said in many interviews that Hoffman was his second favorite man after Newman. During the filming of All the President's Men, they were more than co-workers. They were like two reporters investigating Watergate, analyzing every detail, every line of dialogue until the line between the movie and reality almost disappeared. Yet, their relationship was far from simple. Their on-screen chemistry was electric, both captivating and challenging. Tensions sometimes flared on set when Hoffman's method acting forced Redford to hold himself back. Yet those fights created explosive, vibrant moments like sparks that couldn't be contained. Off-set, they found private ways to relax. Redford talked about racing along the Washington streets with Hoffman, wind in their hair and engines roaring, both to release tension and test themselves. These seemingly casual rides became intimate moments where they shared thoughts on work and life, nurturing a masculine, powerful, and attractive friendship. Redford said that Hoffman's sharp mind, intellect, and passionate confrontations opened a new way of looking at friendship and lifelong bonds. Still, Hoffman never left as deep a mark in Redford's mind as his greatest enemy. Mike Nichols, Robert Redford, and Sidney Poitier first met on the set of Sneakers, but Poitier left a deeper impression on Redford than any role ever could. With the smart insight of a star who had navigated complex work relationships, Redford immediately recognized rare qualities in Poitier: calm intelligence and unmatched honesty. From that moment, Redford saw Poitier not just as a co-worker, but as someone who held a special place in his heart, a friend he would treasure for life. On set, Redford and Poitier were perfect harmony. Redford's quick wit and sharpness, Poitier's calm and smartness. They were not just co-workers or friends. They spent private time together, going on walks and talking for hours off-set. Yet their relationship was never entirely free, held back by an invisible barrier: race. In that time of Hollywood, a white star showing overly close love to a black star was sensitive, easily watched, and often misunderstood. Redford recognized this and carefully held back his emotions, keeping everything within the limits of respect and friendship. Despite this barrier, Redford's admiration never got smaller. He expressed his respect and friendship through subtle actions and words, rather than gestures that could make Poitier uncomfortable. Redford often mentioned Poitier in interviews about Sneakers and the documentary Sydney, describing him as a moral example, a great man he admired both on and off screen. Over the years, Redford stayed in contact and treasured every memory with Poitier. Quiet conversation, shared insights on work and life, moments of silence together, all created a friendship beyond the bounds of professional courtesy. Redford admitted that his relationship with Poitier was among the most treasured of his life, and he always remembered it with deep gratitude. In contrast, in 1974, Redford got the role of Jay Gatsby in The Great Gatsby, a role Nicholson had also wanted. This choice became a stain in Nicholson's eyes, making him openly express jealousy and even consider Redford privileged, having everything others envied. Nicholson's hatred for Redford went beyond the role itself. It covered the entire persona Redford had built: a charming man captivating every gaze, a star loved by all women whom Nicholson thought didn't deserve it. Every step, every smile of Redford seemed to stab Nicholson's already fragile pride, creating a long-lasting poison in Hollywood. Though Redford mostly ignored the criticism, he kept complete distance from Nicholson. Every work offer or opportunity from Nicholson was rejected, a reminder that the embarrassment of being looked down upon could never be erased, a rare secret few people know. Redford's fleeting lover was none other than James Cagney. On set or during private conversations with close co-workers, Redford admitted his deep admiration for Cagney, calling him an incredible talent with a tone mixing respect and subtle fascination. Not a public romance, but a quiet admiration, a near-passing feeling that Redford remembered repeatedly in private stories. Whenever Cagney was mentioned, Redford's eyes sparkled with a mix of passion and curiosity. Cagney's bold, distinct style and commanding on-screen gestures inspired both awe and secret longing in Redford. In his mind, Cagney was not just a professional role model, but an ideal lover in fleeting imagination, a silent, unspoken feeling Redford never revealed to the world. For Redford, this brief crush never had a chance to grow. Cagney existed in his mind as an image of masculine charm and movie magnetism, powerful yet mysterious enough to make his heart race while keeping a safe distance. Rumors suggested Redford once invited Cagney to dinner, but Cagney said no, and that was the end of it. At 89, Robert Redford still remembered the men who left lasting impressions on his life. 9 men from Paul Newman and Sidney Poitier to Dustin Hoffman and James Cagney became memories, emotions, and secret feelings that Redford treasured throughout his life. They were also complex relationships, including men he resented for life, shaping him both professionally and emotionally. What do you think of these people? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to explore more mysterious and dramatic behind-the-scenes Hollywood stories, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thank you for watching.